When many people talk about the cryptocurrency industry, they lump everything together. They simply say, what are all the assets? All those 19,000 cryptocurrencies. They must all be the same, right? Well, that's not really true. And ultimately, there's only one asset that has the regulatory clarity. That's Bitcoin. It has already been stated by the SEC, the CFTC, and other regulatory bodies around the world that Bitcoin is not a security. And that clarity has allowed not only for large financial institutions to come in, buy the asset, and hold it, they offer it to their clients, but it also has allowed public companies to actually put Bitcoin on their balance sheets. And so when you look at regulatory clarity, it serves as a tailwind for these assets. But now the question turns, what about the rest of the industry? Those 19,000 cryptocurrencies, there isn't any clarity. Michael Saylor was recently on CNN with Julia Chatterley, and he was asked, what do you think's going to happen? Is clarity good for the industry? Here's what Michael said.
Does Bitcoin go back up, and does it take regulation of all kinds to get us there, to rule out some of the obvious criticisms that have been pushed over the last 2 months?
Yeah, I think it's clear that people are confused, and regulation will be constructive because clarity will help the market mature. The people are confused about what's a currency, what's a commodity, what's a security, what are tokens. There's 19,000 cryptos out there. I think we can see in the crypto crash that the average investor has been taken advantage of by traders and by wildcat crypto banks. And as the regulators come in and they clear up this confusion and they introduce rules of the road, it's going to be good for mainstream investors. It's going to be good for corporations. It will catapult the industry from the entrepreneurial offshore anything goes stage into a institutional mature asset class.
Now, Michael's got a great point here, that as we get more clarity, it'll actually serve as a boom for the industry. There's been a lot of problems. There was built up leverage. There was plenty of people who are misleading their customers or investors. As we get more regulatory clarity, some of that coming in more disclosures, some of it coming in the prevention of allowing people to do nefarious things, it likely will give the confidence to many investors, both retail and institutional, to come into the space. It will also elicit more entrepreneurs to come in and start to build products and services that allow for the global adoption of these technologies. Bitcoin is a decentralized, neutral technology. It does not enrich the creator in any way. Simply, Bitcoin continues to execute code, just free speech, in a way that allows anyone in the world to move words around. That's unique to Bitcoin. There was no pre-mine for the team. There was no enrichment of the founders. There was no sale of fundraising to be able to finance the project. That's why the SEC and CFTC have said that Bitcoin is not a security. And it's likely going to be a different outcome for many, many other projects in the space. That doesn't mean that they'll necessarily all go away. It just means that they'll have to conform to the securities laws in their various jurisdictions. And ultimately, as we get more regulatory clarity, more people will start to actually come into the Bitcoin industry. They'll come into the crypto industry too. They simply want to understand what are the rules of the road, and then they'll abide by them. Regulatory clarity is going to be good for the industry. But just remember that clarity doesn't mean you get the rules that you want. It simply means that everyone now understands what the rules are, and if you break the rules, you'll get in trouble. The need for regulatory clarity is starting to heat up. We've seen many, many historic collapses, some in tokens, some in ecosystems, and some in funds. Obviously, regulators, politicians, and many other people in positions of oversight, they're salivating to try to get their hands around this industry so they can create rules of the road that everyone has to follow. Bitcoin is not a security, continues to grow, even though the price has come down. As we get more and more regulatory clarity, I think many investors, entrepreneurs, and market participants will come to the conclusion that Bitcoin is the signal among a lot of noise.